around, get around, I get around. Yeah, get around, round, round, I get around, I get around.
Hey guys, Miss Taylor here. We are on page 36 of your Roots book. We are doing circum, meaning around. So let's highlight circum and underline its definition, around. Our first word is going to be circuit. A circuit is the regular journey around a territory by a person performing duties. A closed path followed by an electric current, or an arrangement of electrically or electromagnetically connected components. So for instance, this would be an electric circuit. See, there's the closed path that goes all the way around. Here's the source of energy, and here's the light bulb. And when this is actually the switch, and so when the switch is closed, the light bulb's on because the path is closed. If it were open, then the light wouldn't come on. And they have something like a circuit board where we have those electromagnetically or electrically connected components, right? Like you would see in a computer. So those are circuits. Our next word is circuitous, and it means roundabout or winding. And I think my favorite example of this is Billy from the Family Circus. If you look, Billy's mom says, "Quick, Billy, run these out to the mailbox. They need to be sent today." And so instead of just going straight to the mailbox, Billy goes through the kitchen, he makes a little stop over here by the fridge, he hops up on the stool by the sink, comes around, has to go over his sister on the couch and do a couple extra hops, over the coffee table, right, around the dining room table, jumps up and down through here, checks on his little brother, through the armchair, through here, makes a few little circles, right, just for fun, goes around the dog, goes outside, spins around the lamppost, all the way out to the mailbox, and then he says, "Too late, Mommy, we just missed him." Well, maybe if he'd gone straight through, it wouldn't be an issue, right? So, that's an example of a circuitous route, a roundabout or winding way to get there. Next we have circumference. Highlight circumference and underline the outer boundary line around a circular area. It's made up of two roots, circum, of course, meaning around, and fer, meaning to carry. And you're familiar with this from math class, so let's take a look.
To find the circumference of the circle shown here, start with the formula. Circumference equals 2 times pi times the radius, or c equals 2 pi r.
So that's how you would find the circumference, or the size of the outer boundary line around the circular area, the circle she was looking at. The next word is circumlocution. Circumlocution is a roundabout way of saying something. Circum meaning around and loc meaning to speak. You are probably familiar with circumlocution because you've probably heard it in class at some point when someone didn't do something they were supposed to do, or perhaps didn't know an answer and was trying to get out of it. We saw some circumlocution when we were watching The Wonder Years, and the coach asked the main character a question in the gym. We talked about it then. Here's another example.
So, I assume everyone has read the material in Chapter 5. Jason, did you read the material in Chapter 5?
I love that book.
That is not what I asked you, sir. Did you read the material?
Well, it was kind of the first thing that was on my list of things to do this weekend. But,
That is not what I asked you, sir. Did you read the material?
I kind of had to work some overtime this weekend.
Enough with the circumlocution, please. Or did you read the book?
No, sir.
I think it's time for everyone to take a quiz.
That was kind of fun. Let's take a look at circumnavigate. Go ahead and highlight that and underline the definition, to sail around. This one literally comes straight out of the roots. So circum means around and nav means to sail, like the Navy, right? So to sail around, pretty simple. And we're going to take a quick look at a video about a girl who tried to circumnavigate the globe. This is before she tried. She took her attempt, but it talks about what she wanted to do. So this video is from the Los Angeles Times, and it talks about Addie Sunderland. And this video is a little bit old. It's from 2010. She actually did attempt more than once and ended up having to be rescued in the Indian Ocean. But she's still pretty impressive for someone her age, what she was able to accomplish.
At the time, at 13 years old, I actually used her to solo on a yacht up and down the coast. And things weren't going very well. It was cold, it was wet, and I thought this would sort her out. This would quench that thirst for adventure and everything. And when she moored her boat up, I was at the dockside. I said, "So Abigail, are you ready to sail around the world now?" Bear in mind, she'd been out there for 20 hours. And Circum went through freezing cold and in a bit of a snotty condition. And she turned around and looked at me straight in the eye and said, "Where's my boat?" I thought, ooh, this is serious.
Of course, at 13, parents aren't really all that willing to buy you a $90,000 boat and send you around the world. So I just kind of kept bugging them, kept sailing, kept working towards it. We were like, oh, well, that's interesting, you know. You're 13, you know, just keep dreaming. Put up with them trying to scare me out of it and all that. And so here I am now. First boat I moved on to, I was 2 months old, so it kind of just happens. I mean, you live on boats, you know how to sail. In most families, sailing around the world at 16 is kind of, they just never really think of something like that, but it's kind of a fit for our families.
And there's our word, circumnavigate. So this story talks about how she wants to circumnavigate in her sailboat, so sail around the world. She wants to circumnavigate the globe, and her brother actually did it by yacht on his own. So, yay, circumnavigate. Alright, circumscribe means to limit or to confine. It comes from the root circa, meaning around, and scribe, meaning to write. I like this sentence here because it is very applicable here. So the rules of the private school circumscribed the daily activities of the students, which is true. And then let's take a look at, if you've ever watched The Big Bang Theory, we're going to look at Sheldon setting some rules that circumscribe the action in a game. So we're picking up here where Sheldon's about to explain these rules, or what will circumscribe the game, what will limit or define how the game works.
Do you know how I solved the balanced center combat area problem? 5 words: transitional quadrilateral to triangular tessellation. That's brilliant. It's what I do. But wait, there's more. I also invented 2 new chess pieces. The serpent and the old woman. Okay, now I have to ask, what do? When the serpent slithers to an opposing player's piece, that piece is considered poisoned and will die after 2 more moves.
Alright.
Unless it gets to the old woman in time, in which case she sucks out the poison, turning her into the Grand Empress. A piece combining the power of the knight, queen, and serpent. Elegant. That's because it's simple.
And as obviously we know, Sheldon's rules are never simple, so he's made the game of chess much, much more complicated. At the same time, he has circumscribed what these pieces can do. So there's a limit to what the serpent and the old woman, how they can move on the board, or their action, what happens with them. Alright, let's go ahead and highlight circumspect and underlined cautious, careful to consider possible consequences. It comes from 2 roots, circa meaning around and spec meaning to look, so look around, kind of look before you leap, right? And I really like the cover of this children's book. Be careful and stay safe, with the 2 kids crossing at the crosswalk with the crossing guard and the stop sign. So children who are circumspect go to the crosswalk because they know they're cautious, they're careful to consider that if they randomly walk out in the middle of the street, they might get hurt. Our next word is circumstance. It's made up of the roots circum, meaning around, and sta, meaning to stand, and it literally means something standing around. But we really use it in a little bit different way. we talk about circumstances as a fact or event accompanying another fact or event. So things like happening at the same time, or that meaning, because of the circumstances at home, I had to give up the trip I had planned. So something happened at home and I could no longer go where I wanted to go. Think of it like that. I did greatly enjoy finding this sign. It's posted at a music store. And while I do not appreciate the fact that they do not use proper punctuation and there are some other errors, it's kind of funny. It says, "Absolutely, under no circumstance at all, are customers allowed to play Stairway to Heaven, Sweet Child of Mine, or Smoke on the Water while trying out guitars. Thank you." So what they're saying is that no matter what happens, no matter how crazy things get, you may not play those songs. Our last word is circumvent. It comes from circum meaning around and ven meaning to come, so to come around. And we don't really use it meaning to come around. We do use it meaning to get around or overcome by artful maneuvering or to prevent. So if you've ever heard someone talk about circumventing the rules, it means that you're going to find some way around those rules. And we're going to quickly look at two different examples of this. One that's a little bit funny and one that's pretty serious. Now I'm not going to show you all of this video clip because it has some pretty intense stuff in it, and I think that's more a decision your parents should make than me. But this is an example of a time when people are trying to say it's okay for someone to circumvent or get around the rules. This says the movie Bully to circumvent MPA rating system. So they're talking about the fact that the movie Bully, was trying to get around the rules of ratings. And here is why.
After Bully received an R rating due to profanity, over 450,000 people signed a petition to lower the rating to PG-13, including celebrities such as Johnny Depp and Justin Bieber. Other famous fans of the film include Meryl Streep and Kelly Ripa. As a parent, Ripa explained why she believed that an R rating was so problematic.
I really feel like it is doing a disservice because children who see far worse, in far easier to access places, video games, music, television, should be able to go see this. I feel like this should be mandatory viewing in the school system. I really feel.
So, we're not going to listen to everything Kelly Ripa has to say, but you're getting the idea. The movie was rated with R, but it's about a kid who is bullied. It's a documentary, and so a number of people would like for it to be more accessible to teens, so that teens can see what's happening and try and stand up for other teens. Alright, so that was a little bit heavy. Here's a little clip from The Office using the word circumvent to finish us off. And good luck on your quiz. I know you guys are going to be great. And I will see you Monday.
This is your office now?
Yeah, well, it's temporary. Got to make sure Job looks like he's in charge. Hopefully, I'll just circumvent you.
Let's make sure we don't give him any real power.